So today we're here for a brain taxing session. Is one of the instructions Prabhupada gave, which was to tax your brain, how to do more and better book distribution. And we would like somebody to take efficient notes so that we can hear back what kind of ideas we've captured. Who's the expert? Okay, you're the note maker. Very good. Can you, once we finish, can you digitize them, or are you doing it as we speak? Digitize, and there's a way you could send it out to, because we'll catch a few good ideas today, and then we'll make them available to everybody in a way that we can take them and use them. Because ideas, when they're used, can actually make a big difference. And we can start today by seeing what your expectations are. What kinds of things would you like to know about, or would you like to brainstorm? What do you want to go away here with? Tell us your expectations and we'll write them down. And then we'll do everything we can to cover your topics, fulfill your desires. Yes, Prabhu. Give him the microphone. There you go.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving this opportunity to come and meet you here. Actually, this is my first time that I'm here for book distribution seminar like this. So my first expectation is to understand how to get into this process of book distribution, whether what kind of activities are to be done, and how do we fulfill the services to the Lord by engaging in the book distribution.
Okay, so how to get into the process of book distribution, that was one thing. And then what was the second part?
I want to understand that how do I engage more and more in the process of serving the Lord by the way of book distribution.
Okay, you want to know how to serve the Lord more and more by doing book distribution.
Yes.
That's a good topic. Very good.
Thank you.
Who else has a particular?
Many devotees here have been doing book distribution for many years, and we have one particular style of book distribution. We go out on the road, on the streets, and put up stalls near the stations, and many devotees want to know what are different ways we can think out of box and reach people so that they would like to actually take books and not just we keep shouting there on the roads. This is the usual style which we have in Mumbai.
Okay.
To go on the stations and shout
this one
out.
category, I'm looking at you. What's your name? Huh? Brian. Ryan, nice to meet you, Ryan. We'll look at Ryan because he's keeping track of everything. So you got that second one. Different methods. And by the way, it's okay. I mean, we'll look at different types of book distribution, but what you're doing now is fine. It's all good. Don't, that you're calling out to people, on the street and everything like that. Don't let anybody tell you there's anything wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. You're calling out to try to help them. And we'll let's brainstorm some other ways that we can distribute books, because one point is, in any team, the more diversity that you have, the more stability you'll have. We've seen over the years that Sankirtan parties tend to gravitate towards those kinds of activities that are easy to do, or they're used to doing, and they feel safe in. And we'll get into, write this one down so you can bring it up, core and explore. Core and explore. That's something that you can get into to learn new things without sacrificing the base of what you're doing now. Because sometimes the hesitancy of looking at new things, what about, we have to make our quota, or whatever it is, we don't want to go below what we're doing now, so if we try to transition into something else, we might lose what we have. So we'll talk core and explore. Yes? Oh, sorry, okay. No, go ahead, and then we'll pass it back.
So it's a very similar question. Like today, we are always faced as book distributors. We hear like, oh, we have to change the way we are doing it. We're just harassing people on the streets. We have to go with the time, and it's not working anymore.
You have to
See
go for what?
We have to go with the times, see
The
what
times.
other religious groups are doing. They're preaching on the internet, this and that, and we're just harassing people on the streets. That's what you sometimes hear. Like
Okay,
people
so
saying this.
talking about maybe some the counter voices to book distribution, that it was for another age. Nowadays it's not relevant, or it's something else we should do. That was for then. This is for now. Something else. So we can address that. Yes. All the way back.
Prabhuji, we have heard that in America you have organized monthly Sankirtan festivals,
Yes.
inspiring many of the congregation devotees to participate in book
Yes.
distribution. So we would like to hear how do we maybe set it up here, and the logistics, and how can we go about monthly
Okay.
Sankirtan festivals.
That means obviously you don't have it set up yet, right? Well, that's a low-hanging fruit. We can talk about monthly Sankirtan festival, congregational book distribution. A couple more, yes?
Prabhu, what should be the goal when we are distributing books? Like, should our intention be that a person should take the book, or should he be really inspired by the way I am presenting the book and by reading that?
Yeah, so what is the goal of our distributing the book? Should we be attending more to the efficiency of just giving the book out, or should we be very much concentrated on the way in which we presented it, so it created a good impression with the person when they took it away, something like that? And that they'll be inspired to read it once they go take it away, right? We don't just throw it at them or something. Okay?
Yeah, Prabhuji, we have seen that over, like so many years devotees are distributing books, but what we have observed is that over a period of time the enthusiasm goes down. Initially, like we have observed that so many devotees they used to come after the office hours, they used to come and we used to distribute books, and somebody used to make prasad and everything. All those arrangements were there. What we have observed is over a period of time this enthusiasm goes down,
Okay.
and the older devotees take a back seat. Now the newer devotees just come into Krishna consciousness. They are the one who takes. So how do we balance that? Even the older devotees also, because it's definitely a challenge. With
all right, so it's a category, how to keep the enthusiasm going with the devotees, right? So we'll take two more. You don't happen to have like a board, do you? Let's write it up on the board. Let's make it a real, like, okay.
Prabhuji, we do the book distribution, but
Yes,
we do book distribution.
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, we do the book distribution, but then but then we don't know how to connect the people. Many people take
Okay,
the book.
follow up.
How efficiently we can do that follow-up?
Yeah, let's talk about follow-up, connecting people to the books. One more?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, like regarding the monthly Sankirtan, what we have seen is like not everyone is particularly emphasizing on book distribution. Maybe 2 or 3 devotees in a team of 5 or 6 devotees. So what happens is like there is conflict of services, and as like temple has so many services and festivals going on.
Yeah.
So not everyone is convinced, that we have to
Yeah,
make this
so
as a
this is-
priority for once
This
in
is
a
a
month.
good point we'll bring up under the monthly Sankirtan festival, is how to work out the conflicts in
Yeah.
schedule.
So like the coordination between authorities and all the counselors, like it's
Okay.
kind of like
How to get consensus and avoid conflicts in services and things like that. Okay, so let's start with what we have now. And look at this, we're getting a whiteboard and everything. And Ryan, tell us what we've won. What did we get?
In the microphone, Brian. First one is how to get into the process of book distribution.
How to get into the process of book distribution. Okay, put them up there. Who's our scribe? Right, kind of small and towards the top, efficiency of space, because we have a lot of them. Okay, what else?
So the second one is how to serve the Lord more and more by book distribution.
How to serve the Lord more and more by book distribution. 3.
So discussing the different methods of book distribution and some of the out-of-the-box.
Exploring different methods of book distribution. Out-of-the-box ideas. 4.
4 is core and explore.
Core and explore. Yeah, put that on there. 5.
Discussing the counter voices to book distribution. So, for example, are we keeping with the times?
Okay. The counter voices of book distribution. 6.
6 is the monthly Sankirtan festival.
MSF. Everyone say MSF.
MSF.
MSF. What's MSF? Haribo. Okay, 7.
It's what is the goal of book distribution? Is it efficiency of giving books out or the impression that we give? For example, are they inspired to read it?
Okay. The goal of book distribution, efficiency or impressions? 8.
How to keep the enthusiasm going with devotees?
How to keep enthusiasm going? 9.
How to follow up? Connecting
Follow
people.
up, connect the people who bought the books. 10.
That's it.
9, we got 9. Fantastic, these are good ones. So,
5th one is discussing the counter voices to book distribution. Counter voices.
conflict of services, yes. How to coordinate and avoid conflict of services and events.
That's under MSF.
It's definitely important. It's a big one. Okay? Let's see what we... Okay, so how to get into the process, how to serve by book distribution. Different methods, out of the box, discussing counter views, voices, MSF, goal of book distribution, efficiency, impression, enthusiasm, follow-up, and conflict in services. Let's start with the first one because it's very general and very nice. How to get into the process of book distribution, how to serve by doing book distribution. So one thing is that I like to start by presenting book distribution as high sadhana. There's a tendency to think in terms of how many books are going to go out. Am I number one? Is my temple number one? What does the newsletter look like? And all this kind of thing. Nothing wrong with those things, and they naturally come about. But there's a way, well, not naturally, we've engineered those things, but the core issue is that going on in book distribution is high sadhana. And what do I mean by high sadhana? The life of the advanced devotee is organized around hearing and chanting and distributing Krishna consciousness to others. As mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, Kavi Yogendra says, Ishvare tadadineshu balisheshu dvisatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha ya karoti samadhyamaha. The Madhyama Adhikari is a very advanced level of devotional service. Means one who sees four entities, Krishna, Ishvara, and he offers his love to Krishna, cultivates love for Krishna. Tadadineshu, Ishvara Tadadineshu, he sees the devotees of the Lord. He's able to recognize the devotees. And Balisheshu, he finds the innocent people. And then he sees those who are envious. So these four people. What is the first one? Krishna, then devotees, then innocent, and anybody ever meet an envious person? Just one person here today. Everyone else has a charmed life. Yes, envious persons you've met, and innocent people you've met, and devotees, and Krishna. Yeah. So the Madhyama Adhikari distinguishes these four, and for Krishna, invests whole heart, whole life energy to develop love for Krishna, for devotees to make appropriate friendships, and for the innocent to pour in as much mercy as possible, and for the envious, upeksha, he avoids them. Does it make your life easier? Can avoid the envious and just deal with the devotees, with Krishna and the innocent. Then your life is nice. So this is the preoccupation of the advanced devotee. And when you go for book distribution, in a very practical way, something, when I say practical, first of all, this is an authorized process. This system of book distribution goes back and back and back and back. If you look at the picture of Lord Brahma sitting on his lotus flower in our Sampradaya, the picture of Brahma has in one of his hands a book. He's holding a scroll, because we're known as the Sampradaya of the book. And all the way down through our line, every one of our acharyas has distinguished him or herself by the literature and has contributed a body of literature to the world. And literature means the information from the Vedas and the spiritual world presented in such a way that people can consume it. Even Vedavyas had thought about how to edit the Vedas in such a way that people can take it. So it's authorized. It's something that every acharya in our line does. And when you leave the confines of your family, your home, and your temple, and you go out to try, what is your level of comfort when you walk out the door? Say, when you're at home, let's say your comfort level is at 10, because that's your space, you're all alone, you can do whatever you want, and when you're home, you get whatever you want, right? Pretty much? Or in your ashram, whatever ashram, let's just say your ashram, that's your safety place. You got all your stuff in a place, you know what's going to happen next and everything like. So let's say that starts with a baseline of 10 as far as your comfort goes. Okay, so then what about when you walk out the door to meet strangers? Where's your comfort level at that point? Would you say? Give me a number. 3? Who said 3? Huh? Ryan said 3. Okay, 3, 4. Anybody at 10? Never a 10, because you're going to the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen next. So necessarily you're going to feel a bit of angst, right? Yes or yes? You say yes or yes, you go, yes. Okay, so keep the energy going in here. So that, yes, you'll feel uncomfortable. Let me put it to you like this. That kind of discomfort is good. It's very good for you. It's like taking a tonic. You should feel uncomfortable when you're in your comfort zone and comfortable when you're out of your comfort zone. And when you go out on book distribution, if nothing else, you're doing an authorized activity that's putting you outside your comfort zone, and in that environment you grow. You grow. And then you're pleasing Krishna by handing over authorized writings about him. And he says in the Bhagavad Gita, there's no one more dear to me than the person who does that. You've got a win-win-win situation when you're doing book distribution. Now, one way that Prabhupada describes the human body, he says, or any body, this body is a yantra, it's a machine, right? Krishna says so in the Gita. He calls the body a tabernacle. What's a tabernacle? Who knows what a tabernacle is? No Christians in here? The Mormon Tabernacle Choir? A tabernacle is a movable church. It's a moving temple. The Jews had it, the Christians have tabernacles. They're like a little altar space where you have the deity inside, but you can move it from place to place. Because some of the original Judaic Christian tradition, they were nomadic. They had to move from one place to another, so they didn't have a temple in one place like you do here. But they would take their temple from one place to another. They'd carry it, little tabernacle. Sometimes it was a tent Other times it was in a box, they could move it. It's a tabernacle. Everyone say tabernacle. Say it 2 more times. Say it again. Tabernacle. This body is a tabernacle. This is what Prabhupada says. The body's a tabernacle. Why? Somebody tell me why it's a tabernacle. Give him the microphone. Tell us, explain why this body's a tabernacle. Right here, quick. You got to be fast with the mic.
It
Okay,
moves.
go.
It moves. Body moves from one place to another.
But what makes a tabernacle? Cars move too. Are they tabernacles? They could be.
Uh,
What makes
Paramatma-
something a
Paramatma
tabernacle?
inside. Supposed Paramatma is inside.
Paramatma's inside. The Atma and the Paramatma, right?
Yeah.
So the definition, if you look up tabernacle, it's a movable dwelling that carries the essence of the divine inside. So what is the body? It's we're tabernacles. And everybody out on the street is a little more enthusiasm, is a? So we're going around to the tabernacles today, right? So when we go around, what we're actually doing, we're visiting temples. And this is the vision of the Madhyama Adhikari. This is why book distribution is high sadhana. The Kanishta Adhikari stays inside because the temple's here, everything else, that's Maya out there. The Madhyama Adhikari says, Krishna's in the heart of every living being. I see the temple in the people. I see the temple within the heart. It's a higher vision. It's a higher vision because you realize what is Krishna's mission for this world. Why did he create the world in the first place? He made it to give a chance for the souls to go back to Godhead, but he doesn't get involved. Samoham sarvabhuteshu. I'm equal to everybody. But he wants the devotees to go out and intervene in the lives of people. So this is a high kind of sadhana where you go out and you do your puja. Your puja is you meet somebody and you ignite the fire of knowledge in their heart. Ganagni sarvakarmanam. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that fire will burn to ashes all their sinful activities, the results of their karma. That's the real kind of puja. So going out. So how to serve Krishna more and more, and how to get into the process of book distribution we're discussing now. And now I want to hear some comments from His Grace Bhima Prabhu.
I didn't come here to talk, I came here to learn. But anyway, one important thing that Vaiseshika Prabhu talked about was that you're authorized. Prabhupada talks about a village boy, right? Now, you know, in Bombay, it used to be, people would come from the villages and they would work in the mills, right? And they would go back, whenever they got chutti, they would go back to the village, right? So when they talk about somebody being a villager, it's kind of a derogatory statement. अरे गांव वाला है और गाती है वो गाती है, right? It's kind of means really ordinary type of person. But you take that same person and you put him, he may be gati, but if he goes into the military, he goes into the battles, right? And he distinguishes himself in battle, he becomes a hero. The whole country knows about him. Even though he came from a very ordinary or simple place, right? So that's what book distribution does. It distinguishes amongst all the devotees of Krishna, and Krishna has unlimited devotees. But for those devotees that take the time to go out and face persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness and try to convince them, they become distinguished amongst all devotees, just like an ordinary person who goes to war for his country and becomes a hero, right? So Prabhupada said the process of Krishna consciousness is to be noticed by Krishna. No, so how to get noticed? Krishna has so many devotees, so many wonderful devotees. Just like we were reading in Bhagavatam today, Narad Muni, right? Such a wonderful devotee. But his realization was that he wanted to go out after understanding how wonderful Krishna is and go out and share that with others. So we can never hope or expect to be on the platform of Narada Muni, but we can follow his good example. That we have the association of devotees in this beautiful temple. We have the association of the deities, Radha Gopinath, Gaurnitai, Srinathji, right? And we get something from that. And if we go out and share that with others, that's the process of book distribution. And why would we want to do that? I mean, the temple is a place of peacefulness and shelter, and as soon as you step out on the street, it's like a dangerous situation, right? You can get run over by the bus or anything. But the devotee takes that risk because he'll become noticed by Krishna, and can become pretty quickly noticed by Krishna too. So that's the process of book distribution. And as Vaiseshika Prabhu was saying, it's high sadhana, right? High sadhana. You all heard of Ramdev Maharaj, right? Ramdev Maharaj? No? Pranayam, Anuloma Niloma, right? Ramdev, right? So he's teaching pranayam, Astanga Yoga, that was propounded by Patanjali, right? And a lot, sometimes in his pandals, 10,000 people are coming to hear about yoga, right? But the system of yoga that he's teaching, the ultimate idea behind Patanjali's Eightfold Mystic Yoga system was to realize the Paramatma. It was Paramatma realization. It wasn't about reducing your fat or curing your diabetes that he advertises, but it's to realize Paramatma. But a devotee who hasn't been in the movement even very long, if he follows the process or tries to get into the process of book distribution, because it's such high sadhana, the goal that Patanjali had set, this eightfold mystic system of yoga, can very easily be reached by a new devotee who goes out on book distribution. Because in order to sell a book, you have to be in touch with the Paramatma. The devotee realizes that it's not him, and that no matter how, you can try really hard on your own effort and not sell a book. But as soon as you pray to the Paramatma that's within that person's heart, the books go out. So the goal of the Eightfold Mystic Yoga system is available even for, anyone who wants to get into the high sadhana of trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. So those are some of the reasons why, we might want to get into book distribution. Hare Krishna.
Now let's talk about how to get into the process of book distribution. I'm going to just briefly cover the 4 laws of book distribution. If you follow these 4 laws of book distribution, I guarantee you that you will have complete success in your individual book distribution and your collective organized book distribution as a community. And by following these 4 laws, you'll be able to expand as much as you wish. As long as you have a desire to expand, by following these 4 laws, you'll be able to expand the program. Fair enough? Okay, so on the top right-hand corner, top right, you can write them as I speak them. Law number 1 of book distribution is your sadhana must be strong. Everyone repeat. Yes, this is the beginning point to all book distribution is strong sadhana. Strong sadhana, there's quite a few aspects to it, but I'll just name in very brief summary, you have to chant good rounds. You won't get anywhere in devotional service or book distribution if you don't chant good rounds. Or you may get somewhere, but you won't last. You have to make this a priority of your day is to chant good rounds. And you also have to read all of Prabhupada's books. What do you have to do? Read all of Prabhupada's books. Yeah, from beginning to end. So it means you have to have a plan to read all of them, and not just once, but continually. Because if you do that, then you'll develop a natural affinity from the books. So number 1, your sadhana must be strong. And number 2 is get books. Just put the 4 laws. You can take away the subs. Huh? Okay, number 2 law, get books with an exclamation point after it. So what is number 2 law? Okay, now in the military, anybody here was in the military? Raise your hand. Look at that, he was in the military. Okay, so when they tell you to do something in the military, how do you respond? When you're, you say, sir, yes, sir. You go, but not like that. Tell me to mop the floor. Huh? Tell me to mop the floor.
Mop the floor.
Sir, yes, sir. You got it? Okay, so when you say get books, you have to say it in a military way. That's why it has the exclamation point after it. So what is law number 2?
Get the books.
Get books. Okay, but you have to say it in a military way, otherwise you'll be kicked out of the military. You ready? What is law number 2?
Get the books.
It's like this. You asked me what law number 2 is. Get books! Okay, what's number 2?
Get books!
There you go. So whenever that law comes up, not all of them, but just that one, you say, get books. Okay, what's law number 2?
Get books!
What's law number 1? Now, number 2 is the one you say military. The other one you can say normally. So what's number 1? Number 1 is? Strong sadhana is the basis because we're distributing the overflow. I spoke about it in class this morning. 1 drop of taste. You'll have enough overflow to cover the whole world. You have to get that drop. It's your responsibility. Don't blame anybody else if you don't get a taste. You have to get it. And if you're not getting it, reorganize your life and reorganize it again until you get a taste. But you have to get it. It requires attention. And that's under your free will. You have to organize your life so you're paying attention to Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and your rounds. These things are very, very important. Strong sadhana must be strict, serious, and sincere. Now, number 2, we've discovered through much experimentation, all the major universities around the world too, we've consulted with, and we found out that it's impossible to distribute books you don't have. That's why this is law number 2. How many of you have books with you right now? 1, 2, 3. Where are they? Let's see. No, here. Who has them right here? How many you got? Very good. Okay, give them a hand. Now, you should carry with you books. Whenever you go out, have books. On an individual level, whenever you travel, whenever you move about, have books. And I also recommend that you have prasadam with you. I like to carry in my bag my books, and I also carry some prasadam that I can distribute wherever we go. We just lean out the window, distribute it. When I'm walking through the airport, distribute it, everything like that. If I didn't have the books, how many would I distribute it if I went through the Bombay airport yesterday? If I didn't have books, how many would I distribute it if I walked through the airport with no books? Approximately how many? Approximately 0, right? And if I had books in my bag, which I did, how many would I possibly be able to distribute? At least one. They're very good mathematical. And if I had 10, how many could I distribute possibly if I had 10 in my bag? Okay. So now you understand the import and the importance of number 2 is you have to have books. If you want to distribute books, go get them. See, this is a miracle that we have books, because books just even a few hundred years ago were not available unless you got a scribe. And a scribe had to sit there and print the whole thing by hand. Only by movable type and the printing press were we able to get these mass quantity books. We take it for granted because, well, you see, I take it for granted because I take everything for granted in this age. Everything just comes through an iPhone or this or that or whatever. But books are a miracle. The very fact that we're able to have the shlokas, the information, Prabhupada's purports printed in a book, in a beautiful book, with pictures that Prabhupada personally oversaw and said, yes, this is what the spiritual world looks like, is a miracle. Get those books. It's a window of opportunity to have those books. Now, just expand it to your community, to your household, wherever. You have to have them. So that's law number 2. Law number 3, and this is the one we always say twice. So I'll say it and then you can repeat it, say it 2 times. The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. Right, that's the one we always say twice because it's so important. Now, if you have books and you also take them out of the bag, out of the box, out of the basement, or wherever they are, and you simply display them. You may be, maybe say you're deaf, dumb, blind, or you are partially brain dead, whatever, but you're able to take the books out of the bag, out of the box, out of the basement, and bring them out and put them in a place where other people can see them. What are the chances that those books will sell? Much better than if you leave them in the bag and in the box and in the basement. And the fact is, little Jiva is wandering around the universe looking for something to buy. And little Jiva is seeing Coca-Cola. You have Coca-Cola in this country? It's not good for you. Every cell in the body is going, don't drink Coca-Cola. And the guy looks at the sign and says, drink Coca-Cola. So what does little Jiva do? Despite the fact that every cell in his body is going, don't drink Coca-Cola. And little Jiva sees the sign, says, drink Coca-Cola. So what does little Jiva do? Why did little Jiva drink Coca-Cola? Why did little Jiva drink Coca-Cola? Because he saw the sign. The sign said, drink Coca-Cola. And little Jiva went, I'm going to drink Coca-Cola. Every cell in his body is going, don't put that in here. Whose side are you on? You're going to kill us. And little Jiva said, I saw it on the sign, so I'm going to drink Coca-Cola. We are Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti is open for suggestion. Every Jiva walking on the street of Bombay, make no mistake about it, is open for suggestion. That's why we're out there. We're suggesting things. Don't drink Coca-Cola. Take prasadam. Don't read that other book. Read this book. We're introducing. And the more you can show, there are myriad ways that you can show these books. There's not just one way or 2 ways. There are thousands and thousands of ways, combinations and permutations of ways that you can think of. If in one brainstorming session, we had in Washington, D.C., the devotees were doing about 5,000 books a year. We sat down and we had a brainstorming session in one of their little trailers in there with about 15 devotees, and we came up with 66 different ways that they could show the books. They picked the top 7. And in the next year, they did 50,000 books. Why? Because they figured out 7 new core ways that they could show the books. Because law number 3 is? And number 2 is? And number 1 is? Sadhana must be strong. And number 4 law of book distribution is you must organize. Because you can do a few books accidentally. But if you sit down and you brainstorm and you come up with, use the same kind of organization that you do at home, or you do in the brahmacharya ashram, or the corporations do to figure out how to make a better annual report, or to increase sales. People are always meeting and talking, how can we do it better and bigger? If you do the same thing with book distribution, apply the same principles, you can expand unlimitedly. How much can you expand? Unlimited. That is correct. So these are the 4 laws of book distribution. Follow these laws very carefully, and whatever individual book distribution or community book distribution you're doing will be very, very successful. I guarantee it, or your money back from this seminar.
How to serve by book distribution. Well, just like any service in devotional service, book distribution is a service. And it's based on the principle of hearing. You go out, you meet people, you've heard something in the temple, and you share that with people that you meet outside. Everybody is looking for 2 things. The psychology can be of everyone. They want to feel good about themselves, and they want to get something. This is what people want. So by book distribution, both things are available to them, right? What do they get? They get the highest knowledge. They get what they're really looking for. Nobody wants to be unhappy. Everybody wants to be happy. So how to get happiness, they don't know. And they're going into this shop or that shop looking for it. Nobody's going into the different shops looking for a bottle of cancer. They're looking for something that's going to make them happy. So here we have, inside Srila Prabhupada's books, the formula for becoming happy, right? Everybody wants to be close to the most popular person, right? Just like in college, there was that person who was popular with all the students, very popular. So we like to also know that person, right? But who can be more popular than Krishna? Krishna is the most popular person. He's the best of everything. He's the best dancer. He's the best actor. He's the best at everything, right? So we're introducing them to the nicest person, right? And this is a service. It's done for the pleasure of Krishna. It's done for the pleasure of Krishna's devotees. So that's how one can see book distribution as a service. We're introducing people to the nicest person, the most famous person, the best person. If I give you an opportunity tomorrow to go and shake hands with Mr. Modi, would you want to do that? Sure, right? So here we are, we're giving people an opportunity to get close to the nicest person, the best person, the most famous person, and the most powerful person. So it's a service that we're doing. We're offering them a service. One thing that I remember Srila Prabhupada said in Mayapur during a Gaur Purnima festival was that our business is to make Krishna consciousness available to people. Just make it available. Whether they take or whether they don't take, that's not our concern. That's up to Krishna. Because Krishna, as the Paramatma, is residing within everyone's heart. Krishna is there in their hearts. So if we go out with a mentality as a service to Krishna, right, and a service to them, because certainly if they take the Krishna consciousness, they're going to be benefited by becoming close to the most wonderful, powerful, beautiful person there is, Krishna. So in that way, our appreciation for what we're doing as book distributors will actually increase. So that's how we can see book distribution as a service. Hare Krishna.
Now we'll get into some practical points about different ways to distribute books. But first, let me give you a very quick primer about how to distribute a book wherever you are. And I want you to turn, when I say, to the person next to you and notice something about them that you appreciate, and then tell them about it and make them feel special. Now, did you get the assignment? When I tell you to, I want you to turn to the person next to you, notice something that you like about them, notice something that's unusual or unique about them, on their person, on their clothes, and the way they look, the way they're moving, anything like that, and then make them feel special. Did you all get the assignment? Are you ready? You sure? Yes. You out of your comfort zone? Yes. Is that good? Yes. Okay, on your mark, get set, go.
It's something that it's ever fresh because it's the truth. It's like saying you're not the body. We've been saying that for 40 years, right? We may not be convinced ourselves so much, but it's the absolute truth. So we relish it. So your four principles of book distribution are like the absolute truth, and therefore they're relative when you said it, zero but death. And I never get tired of hearing it.
Okay, how'd that go? Made you feel bad, right? Isn't it horrible when people turn to you and they appreciate something about you? Don't you hate it? It's really bad, isn't it? It brings down the mood of the whole room. I can see everyone's looks really unhappy and nobody's smiling. Really, the essence, what I've learned in communicating with people wherever I go is simply give them a little attention. People actually can live in a spousal relationship for 20, 30 years and never notice one another. They don't even talk to each other. You can live in a brahmachari ashram and not talk to the people, the other devotees in the ashram. They just never get into it. You just go on with your routine. People in the world, they're born, they go through school, they put a protective shell around themselves. If you take a little bit of time just to notice any living entity and just pour a little bit of attention into them, you'll find that those who are ripe fruits, and remember, we're looking for those people who are innocent, not for those who are envious. Because you get to skip over those people. That the Shastra gave you a free space to make your life easy. Say, envious people, just skip them. Upeksha, indifferent. You don't have to deal with it. Don't you feel better? We're looking for the ripe fruits. So you go around the world, this is your occupation, and you look for those openings where you can meet somebody and just give them a little appreciation, a little bit of attention. What that leads to then is an opportunity where they'll open themselves to you, and that's when you can put a book in. It's such a practical thing to do because you see, it's all written down, it's concentrated, and the book is a medium of exchange for ideas in society, in every society in the world. People revere books. They build libraries. They build monuments to books. And books change the world. The reason we have capitalism is because there was a book written about it many years ago. The reason we have an idea that there's some system in the universe by which entities evolve into higher species on their own is because somebody wrote a book about it. You won't even find the book anywhere around, but everyone thinks the same way. They talk about evolution. And they say it's a fact. Why? Because somebody wrote a book about it, and the book was distributed. That's why. The reason there's an America today is because somebody wrote a pamphlet named Thomas Paine. And in that pamphlet, he said, y'all should break off from Britain. and become your own country. And enough people read it to say, okay, we're going to do this now. Books change the world. That's the main way that they change, by ideas, and ideas are delivered through books. And if you take the time to notice people, and then when there's an opening, inject a book in their life, let them take it home, let them read it, you'll change their life, and you're doing the work of changing the whole world, creating a revolution. Okay? So now some different ways to distribute books. But first thing, stand up just for a second. Everyone just stand up. And when I say 3, reach as high as you can into the sky and yell out, "Go Ranga," so you scare everybody in the whole place around the temple and on the street. Everyone can hear you. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. You can sit down. So, a few ways that we've found to distribute books. One way is that we've started, and I'm going to start with the monthly Sankirtan festival, because it's very applicable to a large community. I know I'm cutting down the list a little bit, but this one relates to different ways to distribute books. Monthly Sankirtan festival means that you designate once a month a time in which everyone, who? Everyone in the community has permission to come out of their comfort zone, to go together, even if it's for an hour, out into public and distribute Krishna consciousness in the most practical ways possible. Does it take planning? Yes. You have to plan ahead. Cutting to some of the other points here. ISKCON's a busy organization these days. There's thousands of speakers traveling the world that will show up at any minute. There are seminars on everything that you can imagine, and they're taking place at a temple near you at any minute. And therefore, you have to prioritize the monthly Sankirtan festival. At our temple at ISKCON Silicon Valley, we start our year by putting on the calendar when the monthly Sankirtan festivals are going to be, before anyone else can come and say, by the way, we've got a speaker coming this time, that time, whatever. We mark off the monthly Sankirtan festivals, so when everybody looks at the calendar, they choose based on 365 days a year minus at least 12 weekends, because those spots are taken. You have to pay yourself first. Like if you want to build wealth, you have to pay yourself first, right? Before you pay the credit card, everyone. So if you want to develop monthly Sankirtan festival, you have to select a time and put it on the calendar and let everybody know. And not only that, you have to ratify it with the leaders and say, everyone okay? Is this a priority? And that's how it works. So the monthly Sankirtan festival started at our temple in ISV with a group of devotees, everyone that wanted to come out in the community, going on Harinam Sankirtan together on Friday night, and then on Saturday, the devotees would meet together and have a morning program and then a breakfast together, and a little orientation about how to distribute books, and then they would be deployed to different areas. When we first started, we had about 3 or 4 devotees, and we didn't have a budget, and we had to collect money just to get our own paraphernalia and everything like that. So after we had the first couple of monthly Sankirtan festivals, when devotees who had never been out before went out, they were so enlivened that they say, let's do this every week. And I said, let's not. Let's stay once a month. And after we had done it about 5 months, some devotees came and said, this is hard, let's do it every 3 months. And I said, let's not, let's just do it every month. And after we got through about a year, we found out that once a month was a really good period of time, because if you have it on the calendar once a month, a time when the devotees can go out, and it doesn't have to be for a long time, but at least for a few hours to start with. They can all go out together. You have a point in time that you're building towards, and it creates this energy where the devotees are thinking about how to organize towards the festival, monthly Sankirtan festival, and you develop all kinds of systems based on that point in time when you're going to create the monthly Sankirtan festival so that you can accomplish it. I would say that the hardest part of doing this monthly Sankirtan festival is troop movement. What is the hardest part? Troop movement. Whenever I go to a temple that in North America or anywhere else that says, we want to start the monthly Sankirtan festival, we take a lot of time before I even get there, talking over the phone, doing conference calls and things like that, to organize the troop movement because everything else is easy. The hardest thing is to get a group of devotees out the door and to a particular destination with the right kinds of books and things in their hands. That takes some planning. Which of the laws of book distribution is that? Number 4, right? And so the devotees go out together, and in every place I've gone where we started the monthly Sankirtan festival, the devotees who go out have so much fun. They feel so exhilarated by being together in a safe environment and going out to distribute books for a couple of hours that they want to do it more. And they'll spontaneously try to do things to increase it. And our philosophy is a lot of devotees each doing a little bit. If you depend on a few devotees to do a lot, it's going to be unstable eventually. But if you depend on a lot of devotees each doing a tiny little bit, you get a very stable model and nobody feels any pressure. For the monthly Sankirtan festival, we also don't put any expectations on the devotees. We put the bar so low that everyone feels like that's ridiculous. Anybody can do that. And so that's right. It's so easy. For instance, I went to Laguna Beach, California a few years ago, where their goal for the year was to distribute total for the whole year. Their goal was to distribute about 40 books a year. And we started the monthly Sankirtan festival, and we did a few of these things like organize. We were already on the second quarter, and by the end of the year, they had already distributed about 17,000 books, just by employing. But I remember the first monthly Sankirtan festival. Some of the devotees looked nervous because they'd never been on book distribution before. And it's outside the comfort zone. And so they were looking at me nervously, and I said, don't worry, we're not going to do any books today. And they looked at me like, you're just kidding, right? I said, no, I'm completely serious. Today, we're not going to do any books. We're only going out to see if we can get all of the devotees out the door, and there was about 17 of them, from this place to the place where we're going. And as soon as we get there and we touch the pavement, we're done. That's all you have to do. Just get out the door to the spot and touch the pavement, and then you're done. And I looked around and I saw a sigh of relief. Everyone started feeling happy and empowered. And I said, you don't have to do anything. After you touch the pavement, anything that happens after that is completely extra, and it's up to you. Take away all expectations of everyone in the congregation who's going out. Nothing expected of you. No particular goal except to get out the door because we're doing the right thing. And by creating that momentum to go out, you're going to find something very wonderful that Krishna will empower you. What happened that day in Laguna Beach? After the devotees got out, touched the pavement, and they felt free to do whatever they wanted, try it out, do it if they want, don't do it if they don't want. They went out, and door to door we were going, and they distributed many, many books and came back completely happy. The next thing we do is we get all the devotees after they've gone out, and we meet together in a room, and we take prasadam together. And then we go around the room and we ask everybody, what was your experience? So everybody in the room has some amazing kind of realization about what happened. Some devotees say, I never imagined it would be like that. I met this person and they took a book, and I never thought they would take a book. And I met this other person, they wouldn't take a book, and I thought they would take a book. And every single person, from the young to the old, everyone that goes out, have some kind of thing to share. And the devotees start to see, oh, this is the way in which Krishna is manifesting himself through this distribution. He becomes available and present to the distributors, and they see it within the hearts and minds of all the devotees that go out. So if you start a monthly Sankirtan festival, you're doing one of the things that Prabhupada asked us to do. Because in the early days, he told us to have everybody in the temple go out. And he said you can leave one pujari behind. That's a fact. It's in the letters. There was a controversy at the Chicago temple. There was this thing about book distribution was very important, this and that. And the temple president was saying, yeah, you're just, that's your service. Everybody else has service. We have to do the... They wrote to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada wrote back. He said, no, actually, right. He was talking about the book distribution. Everyone should go out, and one person can stay back. Prabhupada had asked the devotees to all go out and have this experience. A practical way you can do it is the monthly Sankirtan festival. Here in Bombay, there's unlimited spots you can go to. You just have to look at the city, plan it out, plan the troop movement, and get the devotees out there with the books in their hands and some prasadam to distribute and a little harinam. And on one day, go out for 2 hours, something simple, come back, meet for prasadam, and then discuss what happened. And you will find that the devotees will become spontaneously attracted to going out. And they'll start thinking about the next month and how to make it nice. What we have going for us right now in ISKCON is the congregation. We have huge congregations all over the world. And traditionally in ISKCON, at one point, there was a switchover where we started to think, there's the book distributors and there's everybody else. But actually, everybody has the right to distribute books. Everybody. And most people who come to Krishna Consciousness Movement, they want to do something exciting. There's nothing more exciting than going out for the monthly Sankirtan festivals. Any questions about the MSF? Yes. We'll need the microphone.
Actually, Prabhuji, we just started. Almost 5 months have been there now. We started the monthly Sankirtan festival. And we have been doing like around 15 books for 3 hours, like once in a month. Actually, Prabhuji, what happens is like some devotees are not that much inclined towards book distribution. They have some other priorities, like they want to attend seminars or they want to do different kind of services in temple. And what happens is basically because of the distance, from their house to the temple, and because they are working from Monday to Friday, so they want a break also sometimes. So it happens that like although we want to have the book distribution going on once in a month regularly, but like as we are talking about the sadhana, that we should have strong sadhana, but at the same time, like I feel that there should be a need for all the devotees coming together doing kirtan, and like that way plan and organize, do some Krishna Katha more and more, so that I think it will have a very good cooperation spirit, and that might also help us to distribute more books. At the same time, like it's kind of difficult to choose the priority, like because if only 2 devotees are interested, or if they consider book distribution as the first priority, then because other devotees are also helping and managing with the books, transporting and all that. So if other devotees are not able to do it, then we are stuck. So how can we because what I realize is that there should be a proper communication channel between the authorities in the temple and the councillors, so that they can properly train all devotees to focus on their emphasis basically and priority. That okay, if we want to have book distribution once in a month, that's what we have to do it. Otherwise it's kind of like very difficult to maintain for a long time.
So what's your question?
So question is probably like, don't you feel that there should be some kind of communication between temple authorities and the councillors, and like
yes,
and also the emphasis?
I do feel that that's important.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, can you speak something about that? Like how can we
communication?
Yeah.
Well, best thing is to communicate. Be clear about what you would like to have, and when the leadership of the temple comes together and prioritizes and focuses, as you said, on a particular thing, and it comes from the top down, then you have a very good chance of it manifesting. So if you can do that in the circumstance you're in, then it's most beneficial. When I travel around to introduce the monthly Sankirtan festival, I have a list of temples called most likely to succeed. And I don't go to other temples. And who's on the list of most likely to succeed? Those in which the temple president, the local GBC, the temple council members agree to meet with me when I come there, agree that when we meet together, we'll make a goal to increase book distribution by a specific amount, and that they would like to have the monthly Sankirtan festival. That means that they'll prioritize and make it a time that can go out once a month. I've found that if that's not there, there's no consensus, then it's a waste of my time. Because I go there and there's a few devotees that want to go out, and they go out and then they come back, and then there's no support, and the whole thing generally kind of doesn't grow. So it is an important ground on which the monthly Sankirtan festival grows. It's that consensus and cooperation amongst the leaders. So how do you do it? Well, you have to talk to them and make sure it's a priority. I heard just now, I got a letter from one of our GBCs in America saying that the GBCs just met and they said for 2016, top priority, book distribution. How to increase it all over the world. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? You just heard it now. So, yeah, anything else about the MSF? Yes.
Prabhu, when we say book distribution, so we should give out the books free, or we should accept Lakshmi for that? Like we do in the book distribution month, where we take the Lakshmi also for that.
Well, there's two kinds of book distribution. One way is subsidized, and for instance, we do this is called Motel Gita. In America, about 65% of the motels and hotels are owned by Indian Americans. Is that Lord Chaitanya's arrangement or what? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. So they generally have no problem putting a Bhagavad Gita in each one of their rooms. And so most of them don't pay for it because they're used to getting the Gideon's Bible for free. So we get other people that sponsor the books, they'll pay for it, and then we go out and we get the agreements from these motel hotel owners to put them in their rooms. And so that's an example of one kind of free book distribution. Another kind is in the prisons. Prisoners generally don't have much money, but they do read books a lot, and they like the Bhagavad Gita and other books. So there's a way in which we donate books to prisons as well so that they can read it. One devotee just got initiated in Arizona State Prison, chanting 40 rounds a day. And I met with the chaplain there, and he said, the chaplain told me, he said, a lot of devotees, a lot of inmates are asking for Bhagavad Gita. So a couple examples. Otherwise, the reason we ask for donations, and let me tell you how I ask for a donation when I sell a book. Shall I? Okay, so when I sell a book, for instance, a Bhagavad Gita, this is a normal circumstance to an American. So there's a whole thing I go through, which I won't go into right now, but at the end I say, I hand the book to them, I hand the book back after showing it to them, and I say, we don't sell it like at a bookstore, we take a donation. We don't need the money. The reason we ask is, it's a tradition that when you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have passed the knowledge down, and it allows you to enter deeply within it. And when I tell that to people, they're very eager to give a donation. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you shouldn't teach the Bhagavad Gita to those who are not devoted or austere, right? So the reason we ask people to give a donation is it's an austerity on their part. We don't need the money, we're fine. But when they give something, that's their austerity. And you know how you can tell it's an austerity? By the look on their face when you ask them for a donation. Is that give some money. Just go up to anybody and say, hey, give me some money. And they'll go like, that's an austerity. I like money, I just want to keep it all. And so when they give something in return, it gives them a relationship with the book. They just did some yajna, the only kind of yajna that they can really do at that time, which is hand over a little bit of cash. And that way it solidifies their connection with the book. Very powerful in that way. So we do ask for donations. And in some circumstances, people, they pay with their attention. They'll give their attention to the book, they like it, they want it, they don't have any money. In those cases, we let them have the book. What we don't want to do is just hand out books for free, like in public, and people won't appreciate them, and they'll just think this is useless, I'll throw it away. They want to either be well placed with people that don't have money or where they'll definitely read it, or when we're doing to individuals, we like them to give something in return so that actually the book will attach to them and they'll become connected to it, okay? Any more about the MSF? You want to say anything about MSF or anything that's come up?
Well, one thing is that somebody mentioned before, a lot of books have been distributed and we don't necessarily see the result so much. We wonder, what is the result? So I'll give you two examples. Back in the early 80s, we got the first complete translation of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita in Marathi. Okay? It's called Jashi Ayatashi. And we went for the first time to Pandharpur during Ashara Ekadasi. And we had 1,000 Marathi Bhagavad Gitas. And during that Ekadasi, Lokanath Swami was there, some other Prabhupada disciples, and we were all day distributing Bhagavad Gita, and we sold all 1,000 Bhagavad Gitas in one day. So this was the beginning back in 81, I think it was. So for about 5 years, we distributed Marathi Bhagavad Gita, all the different jilla, all the different taluka, and people in Maharashtra are very pious. Even before they take the Bhagavad Gita, they take their shoes off, they touch the book to their head, they buy 10 books to bring them back to the village. Very pious. But after so many years, I was thinking, well, now how do we follow up with this? Or, what is going to be the result? But then some years ago, in Pandharpur, they installed Radha Pandharinath in the Pandharpur temple. And during the installation ceremony, I looked out and I saw that everyone who had come for that installation was a devotee. And they were all wearing tilak, they had japamala, and they also had that hat from Maharashtra, right? And I realized, okay, this is the result of the book distribution that we did. Another thing is, my sister, who's in no way, shape, or form a devotee, she had a daughter. The daughter's name is Rosanna, and Rosanna's two kids are in a very elite school in Louisville, Kentucky. But she didn't like the way that the management of the school treated her or her kids. So although she was paying $23,000 a year to keep her kids in school, she decided to take her kids out of the school and put them in another school. And she's not a devotee. She doesn't know much about, she just knows her uncle is some strange Hare Krishna, he lives in India. But her friend told her that the school was being sued by another set of parents because there was a boy harassing their daughter, and the school knew about it but didn't do anything about it, so the school got sued for millions of dollars. So her friend told my niece that, look, you took your kids out of this school, but this is what happened in the school. And she wrote back just 2 words: it's karma. And when I it was this all happened on Facebook, right? So when I read that, I got really excited. I say, see, this is the result of book distribution. My niece is not a devotee. She's not philosophical, and she doesn't know anything about Krishna consciousness much, but she knows what karma is. How did that happen? Right? It happened by Srila Prabhupada's books being distributed widely, and people understanding. This is a very important concept. It's not there anywhere. It's only coming from Krishna's philosophy. It's coming from Bhagavad Gita. that we are suffering or enjoying as a result of our activities. It's karma. And that we can see the result of book distribution when we go out there. It comes in increments. It changes people in a cultural way. Now, everywhere, people know what karma is. And gradually, they're also going to come to know that God is a person, He plays a flute, and His name is Krishna. Gradually. Hare Krishna.
How's everyone so far? You're okay? Keep going a little bit? Okay. I'll just talk about a few things that we've done in America with varieties of presentation. So one thing, to give you an idea of brainstorming, we have, and I'm not saying it will work in India, it won't work in India, that's up to you to figure out. But for instance, in America, we do a lot of events. We find out, we look through the papers and we find out where people are meeting to have events for yoga, for special music festivals. And we go there and we either set up our own table or we just work around the area where those lots of people are going to be. That's very successful. There's groups of people that are like-minded meet together for these events, and then we're able to distribute lots and lots of books at that time, especially if there are events that are towards the mode of goodness. Another program that we've done is called Smart Box. The Smart Box is a little display system that we have that's got a lock box and then a display of books. And we go around to different stores and we tell them that we're trying to create peace all over the world by distributing these spiritual books, and that we ask if we could place this display in their store, and we say 100% of the proceeds goes into printing more books to distribute all over the world, to teach people these principles of yoga and how to improve themselves. And about 70% of the places just say, sure, we'll take a smart box. And they're very attractively presented, and we put them in the store, and then the devotee will go back and he has a route. He goes around and he looks at the boxes and he'll take out the Lakshmi and he'll put in more books. And right now, just around the Silicon Valley area, we have about 150 of those boxes. And if you like to distribute books even while you sleep, or you're taking prasadam, or you're traveling in other parts of the world, Smart Box is for you. Because
we have 52,000 life members in Bombay.
He said we have 52,000 life members in Bombay.
So there's a potential with those life members to have a smart box. We could go around, meet the members, explain the program, and see how they would like to get involved. 52,000 life members. There's a big potential there.
They're going in, just to give you an example, because it might meet the criterion here, of these life members, tax preparers. Do you all pay tax in this country? You do, huh? Okay. Then there's...
More than America, they pay tax.
More than America. In America, we have tax preparation offices, and sometimes those are run by people who, will go in and will say, can we put a box in? And especially around tax time, we'll put it in for that whole month, and the box will do really, really well. We put them in restaurants. We put them in Indian stores. You have a few Indian stores in India, right? In America, Indian stores are slam dunk. You just put them in there, and lots of people come in and they'll buy the books. We put them in boutiques and all kinds of other places. And as soon as you make it available and visible, some people will come in and buy. Did you have your hand up? Oh, no, okay. Any questions about the Smart Box? Yes. Ryan.
So I understand they can donate, but do they take a book as well?
Yes.
I missed that.
So there's 2 display racks, and then there's a box where they can donate, and on each book we have a price tag. It says the amount for the book, and it says thank you. In the beginning we used to put the word donation, but we found out when we just put the amount for the book, we did twice as much. So it just says, for instance, the Perfection Yoga says $3. And then they just put the money in the box. And they take the book away on the honor system. I got this idea because when I was growing up, there was this company called Honor Snack of America. And if you go into all kinds of corporations where workers were, you'd see that there were all these bags of chips. And all you had to do is put it on the honor system, you put the money in the box and take a bag of chips. And so we developed the system of putting the books in the smart box and putting it out there, and would it work? Yes, it does. At least it works in America. You can try it with live members in all kinds of places, but it follows which law? This follows all of them, but especially number 3, the more you show, the more you sell. If you put it out there, people will take it. Yeah. I mentioned subsidized books. There are lots of people who think that distributing books is a really important cause, and they'll give money for it. If you have the ways and means to get those books out to all kinds of people, you can take in that Lakshmi and put the books out there. Another way is what we call corporate Sankirtan. One of the pioneers of this, Rakesh Oberoi, who lives in Delhi, he a few years ago, more than a decade ago, he was in Vrindavan staying at Prem Kishore's flat, wondering what he was going to do with his life. And every day Prem Kishore told him, you should go distribute books. So he went home, and being the very industrious and intelligent person that he is, he began thinking about how to approach the corporate world and distribute books in that way. I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and I wrote a paper on it about what we call corporate Sankirtan. If you like that paper, I have available that you can download. But in essence, he told me that he goes through the trades and he looks for he said he doesn't deal with millionaires, only billionaires. And he goes through the trades and he tries to find out which companies just had a windfall. And then he does everything he can to make an appointment to meet the head of the company. And he keeps trying until he gets it. And then when he goes into their office and they ask him if he'll take something, he says lukewarm water. Why lukewarm water? Because it's not cold and it's not hot. And he said it gives them an extra 2 minutes in the office because they're trying to figure out how to get the water lukewarm instead of hot or cold. And he just meets these people and he just makes friends with them. He doesn't ask for anything. He just makes friends and makes contact with them. And he networks in that way. So some of the devotees started doing it in Silicon Valley at their corporations at Oracle, and especially Oracle, one of the Matajis who works there has been very successful going around networking with all the people in the corporation at Oracle, which is like a little city unto itself. And every year for the marathon, she sells $25,000 worth of Bhagavad Gitas herself just during that month because of doing corporate Sankirtan. So that's something that anybody who picks a particular area and just concentrates, how do I make this better? You'll have some success and you can develop it in that way. There's a few other things here. We have follow-up, which is an important point because when you go out and meet people, you're going to meet a certain kind of person who's instantly interested in getting involved. And then there's other people that are going to get the books and they're going to wander into the temple or want to call in. Or you should make a way for them to call in. And some of the important points are that you should have a collection system for all the names. And make sure that you get their names and information. There are some really good kinds of software out there nowadays like Salesforce. Does everyone know Salesforce.com? Anybody know Salesforce? Yes. It's a very comprehensive way to keep in touch with information. It's high-end, but there are other kinds, obviously out-of-the-box kinds of solutions that you can get for database, but you should put this in place and have a system so when you meet people, you collect you prioritize, you sort them out into different areas. And then one of the ways that's really an entry-level way to follow up with people is what we call a drip system. In gardening, there's a way in which you can set hoses underground, and then a small nozzle goes to the base of every plant in your garden. I garden quite a bit in California, so I have this system in my front and backyard. And then it goes to a central system where you set a timer. And then you turn on the timer, and the right amount of water goes out to all the plants at the right interval. And each one of the nozzles has a color code on it, so it gives a certain amount of water per hour and so forth. So when you meet people, if you have a place to collect and save their names and prioritize it, and then you can start with a drip system, which means that once a week, once every 2 weeks, at least once a month, people get a positive message from you that you generate and send out to the different categories of people. And it can just be a few sentences of spiritual encouragement. You'll find that you'll be able to retain hundreds and then thousands and tens of thousands of people. They'll start to follow you and appreciate, even you've forgotten about them practically because you don't know where they all are, but because of your drift system is giving them some spiritual value, they'll remember you and they'll want to stay connected. Then of course there's lots of other ways to educate people and bring them forward. One thing that we've been doing a lot in Silicon Valley is selling full sets of books. And the way we've been doing that is by following these laws. Some people say, I can't sell sets of, or we're not selling sets of Bhagavatams and Chaitanya Charitamritas. And what do you think my next question would be? Based on these 4 laws. To try to figure out why they're not selling any sets of Bhagavatams or Chaitanya Charitamrita. What do you think I would ask them? No, I'm asking a question. What would be my next question? DJ rounds. That's good. Yeah. I don't know how they'd react to that. As Prabhupada asked if you were chanting rounds. Oh, I see. Before Brahman initiation. I would ask them, how many sets do you have? How many sets of Bhagavatams do you have available? Where are they? And if they say, I don't have any sets of Bhagavatams, then I'd say, aha, I discovered your problem. Because you can't distribute books that you don't have. What's the second law of book distribution? No. What's the second law of book distribution? Correct. So we decided that we distribute Bhagavatam sets, so we started getting Bhagavatam sets. Then we got Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, and a lot of devotees said, how are you going to sell Chaitanya Charitamrita? He said, just get them and then start showing them, because third law of book distribution is, and this is the one we say twice. And what do you think happened when we got Chaitanya Charitamrita sets and we started showing them to people door to door and just say, hey, look at this. What do you think of this? What do you think happened? We sold hundreds of them because little Jiva's wandering around the universe and he's wondering what he's going to buy next. And if you don't show him the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's going to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola, because that's what the Tatastha Shakti does. Tatastha Shakti means is subject to suggestion. If you take Chaitanya Charitamrita out this next month and you go to everybody you meet and you say, you should take Chaitanya Charitamrita, have a look at this book. It's the most unique spiritual book in the world. Wouldn't you like to have it? How much is it here? How much is a full set of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Can't ask Bhima. I want to hear from you. How much is it? Retail. Huh? 2,000 rupees? That's nothing. So for a full set of Chaitanya Charitamritas, 2,000 rupees. That should be illegal. And you just go around and show them. Will people buy them? Yes or yes? Yes. Correct. They'll buy them.
Yeah, follow up. It's a basic principle that if you want to be in touch with people, you got to follow up with them. And it doesn't have to be a very big thing, you know, just like something as simple as remembering their birthday. And people get really excited about that. I want you all to follow up with Vaiseshika Prabhu because he's 59 years old and his 60th birthday is coming up. That's a big thing in India, right? When you hit your 60th birthday, they call it Shasti or something, right? Shasti? So it's an important thing. So that's one thing you can do. We in Juhu, we invite people to come to the temple for on their birthday and take the blessings of Radharas Bihari. And people really get excited about that. So that's something that we can stay in touch with them about. It's just, you know, tell them happy birthday. And yeah, so follow up. We had some software, it was called the Razor's Edge. It's a little old and outdated now, but you're keeping track of the information about the people that you come in touch with on Sankirtan. Make some way, somehow, that you get their address, you get their email even, so that in the future you can stay in touch with them. And get them to come to the temple. When you first, go out and you're, like you said, out of your comfort zone and you don't feel, you can break into just meeting people and dealing with them by giving them a mantra card. Just give them a mantra card and say, here, come to our temple. And, just something as simple as that gets you involved with people that you're meeting for the first time, and gradually you'll get used to giving them a book. And even just mantra cards. There's one devotee, that's the only thing he does. Goes out and he chants Hare Krishna, and he gives people mantra cards and asks them to chant. Right? His name's Sarvopama, and he lives in Balabhidyanagar. Used to be in Chicago. But he just does that, and actually I became a devotee by a mantra card. I was at a rock festival called Kickaboo Creek, and we were up all night for some reason, and the devotees in the morning came and did a kirtan, and they gave us all a mantra card. And on the card it said, chant this mantra, and your life will be sublime. So I put it in my wallet, and I forgot about it for about a year. Then one day when I was really feeling a little bit down, I found that card in my wallet. And it said, chant this mantra and your life will be sublime. So I thought, why not? I mean, I've tried so many things for happiness. Let me try this. And I began chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And as soon as I made that little bit of commitment to chant, I started to meet devotees. And I met a devotee in a parking lot, gave me a Ishopanishad, and I gave a little donation. And the rest is history. So even something as simple as going out and meeting people and distributing mantra cards can really make a difference in the people's lives that you meet. Hare Krishna.
So I just want to answer your question about the goal of book distribution, efficiency or impression. Was that you? Asked the question, Mataji. And just that both are there. One thing is that when we make a nice presentation, when we're nice to people, when we leave people with a good impression, their minds are open to what we just gave them. Therefore, we keep as a prime directive to leave people with a good impression. Even if they don't take a book, be nice to them. Even if they don't stop, be nice to them, because they're around. It's a closed system. People will remember us and they talk to other people. And if you go out of your way to be kind to people, to be giving and open and pleasant, then that'll actually empower them to appreciate Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we do the best that we can to make sure that as many people as possible can take a book with them. And if we are a little bit sensitive when we meet people and just see what's their mood and present to them in a nice way, they'll go away with a good impression. I always take time with people after they buy a book to thank them for taking their valuable time. In fact, I was in Hawaii, on the island of Hawaii. I was distributing books on Kalakaua Avenue, which was all the tourists go. I was there with Satyadev Prabhu, my dear friend and god brother, and we had been at the temple having nice kirtan. We were feeling a lot of happiness out on the street distributing books. And I met a honeymoon couple. There are lots of them there. I showed them the first canto of the Bhagavatam. I explained it to them a little bit, and they said, sorry, we're not interested. We don't want the book and we don't want to give a donation because we're Christians, we go to our own church and we don't believe in this. And you know that little feeling you can get sometimes if somebody rejects you? I didn't feel that because of the mercy of the devotees at the Hawaii temple and the hearing and chanting we were doing. I just felt a happy heart. So instead of having that pinching feeling that I was just rejected, I just felt kind of open and happy, and I said, oh no, that's all right. I just feel honored that I got to meet you. And I shook their hands. And I said, I just want to tell you how much I appreciated that you took your valuable time to stop and talk to me for a minute. And they went away. And there was a big crowd out there. I was talking to lots of people. And about a half hour later, I looked over and I saw that same couple. They were standing over about 10 yards away from me watching. And as soon as I finished my interaction, they came over. And they said, we changed our mind. We'd like to give a donation. And so they handed me, yeah, go ahead. That's for them. They handed me $5, and I was again appreciating them. And I said, here, please take the book. And they said, no. I said, only just one little problem is this. We have this rule that we can't take money without giving a book in return. So they said, okay, we'll honor your rule. We'll take the book. So I took the book, and we went away friends. But it left an impression in my mind that there's a lot that goes on after we leave the person that we don't see. And it makes a big difference. And if you just give a little bit of your heart to people, don't do it mechanically, but actually appreciate them, even when they don't take. It improves the entire environment for spreading Krishna consciousness. Yes, people get agyata sukriti. Yes, just by hearing the holy name, they get credit. But how much more credit do they get if you go out of your way to make a presentation that is interesting and something that within their frame of reference that they can understand? That's what Lord Chaitanya did. That's why he took sannyas. Why did Lord Chaitanya sit down in the place where people wash their feet when he met Prakashananda Saraswati? Prakashananda Saraswati came over and gave his own hand and said, please come up. Please come sit with us. Mahaprabhu said, I'm a lower person. I don't deserve this. He was just being humble. And Prabhupada writes in that purport that Prakashananda got so much benefit, agyata sukriti, by reaching out his hand and lifting up Mahaprabhu to have him sit with the other sannyasis, that he was able to hear the message later. What if Mahaprabhu had barged in and just said, get out of my way, I'm going to tell you what the philosophy is? He didn't even tell them about Vedanta Sutra until they asked him. So there's a gentle way of dealing with people in the public or at home or in the temple or anywhere else in the world that opens their hearts and minds. And that is the great art of book distribution. It's not just when you're going out to distribute books, but it's how you live. It's how you actually conduct yourself behind closed doors. The realization that you get that enables you to actually touch people's hearts. And that's what Sankirtan is. And it's the most valuable service, because that's why Krishna made the creation. And if you can become his agent to help in that service, then you become very dear to Krishna very quickly, as Bhima Prabhu was saying earlier. Does that help? Okay, now I'm going to tell you how I sell a Bhagavad Gita in America, because at least it's got some entertainment value, even if you can't use it. Can I have a Bhagavad Gita, please? Sure. I don't know, maybe they can. Do you want to see this? You sure? Okay. Okay, so the first thing is that we all have radar. We have mystical powers in our body that we don't even know about. And we are looking for the ripe fruits when we go out on Sankirtan, because the people who are, this is good, but let's see if we got the pictures. Did you print this? This is printed in the BBT. Can I have the local larger version that you have here? It's on the way, okay. So, first thing is that we're looking for the ripe fruits. Who are we looking for?
Ripe fruits.
Ripe fruits. So we're looking for the ripe fruits. When you go picking fruits on the tree, you look for the ripe fruits first, right? Yes or yes? Yes. Yes. So you don't grab onto the unripe fruits and drag the whole branch down. Forget it. Just look for the ones that come off easily in your hand, right? Let's see what we got here. Is this one of yours, Bima? Okay. Just want to make sure. So, how do I? Hindi bol sakte hai. So, how we find the ripe fruits? You have to use your radar. So, I'll teach you how to use your radar. Hold up your hand. Point it at somebody. Activate it by saying this mantra. Don't point it all at me, because I can't absorb so much mystic power. Okay, when I say 3, I'm going to teach you the mantra. You say the mantra and you'll activate the radar. Are you ready? And I want you to look at the person you're shooting it at and notice the reaction once you say the mantra and shoot this ray of mystic power that's coming out of your hand. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi! Hi! Look around. See the reaction. What happened? What did you see? Yeah, no, but what did the person look like when you shot him with your radar? They look shocked? They look happy. People were smiling in here, right? There still are, isn't it? Some actual energy comes out when you give your attention to people. It's uncanny. I saw a little movie clip on the internet where there was people setting up a stand on the street, and they said, make eye contact for 1 minute with a live human being. Have you seen that? And so people were afraid. You could see they were filming the whole thing. It's a social experiment. People are afraid to make eye contact. It's scary, isn't it? Turn to the person next to you and look in their eyes. Just for 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, go. Did you do it? You didn't even do it, did you? It's pretty scary. There's a lot of power that comes out of the eyes, and when you make a gesture to somebody and you say hi, or whatever you say in your own language, you'll notice you get a response. Sometimes this response is the people are very closed down. They won't say anything. They'll just act like you don't exist. Other people, they'll kind of like half smile and they'll think, what's the guy trying to do? You know, what's wrong with you? Other people, they'll smile back and they'll say, hi, how are you? Right? So there's various classes of people. They have a certain nature. You're looking to sort them out. You're trying to find the people who are ripe fruits, baka fruits. So you look and you shoot your radar and just hi. Now, that's the first thing I do. Hi, 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 hi. And then somebody will look at me and then I can see they're open. Next thing I do, I shake hands like this. Do you do this in this country? Do you do this? Maybe you can start it here. A little contact like this. This is a very accepted way. I'll bet some people do. Young people do like this. You can get them to do like this. So I'll notice what I said earlier. I notice something special about them. Like, I like your bead bag. What is your name? Millie? Milan Prabhu, I like your bead bag. It's very beautiful. And I've been noticing it since the very beginning. When I see people walking down the street, hi. The first thing they respond to me, if they're positive, I notice something about them. I say, oh, I like that shirt. I like those shoes. I like the hair. I like the necklace, whatever it is. I like something. I'm appreciating. And a lot of times people are wearing a logo. What kind of logos do they wear in India? Anybody in here have a logo? That's a logo. What does that say? Sport club. See, if I saw you walking down the street, say hi, and you smile back, and I go, all right, sport club. I just noticed the sport club right away. Some people are wearing polo. Some people are wearing this. When you notice a logo, that's an easy in. Because as soon as you see the logo on their shirt, you go, all right, polo. Or the university. They got a university on their shirt, right? What university do they have here? Huh? Bombay University. All right. Instant friend. Instant friend. As soon as you notice them, you say Bombay University, and they go, Bombay University. I go, all right, you know. So then I ask him a question because you have to qualify him. I say, you're from California. From California, where are you from? I'm from California. Where are you from? Mumbai. All right, great. I'll show you one too. As soon as they tell me where they're from, doesn't matter. Could be from India, Africa, the moon, whatever they say. I'm from the moon. I say, perfect. That's who I'm looking for. And they say, here, we'll show you one too. Say the word show. Show. Not giving, I'm not selling. I am showing. I'm showing. So that's how I open up, because now they're qualified. I found out a ripe fruit. I made a friend with them. I asked them a question, and whatever the answer to that question was qualified them to take a look at the book. I'm just showing it to them. No obligation. Here, I'll show you one too. And I hand the book over here. I'll show it to you. And now I trust the hand. So as soon as I put the book out like this, watch. The hand grabs for it. Because that's what hands do. The little hand, it says you put something out for it, and the little hand will go, I'll take it. And the brain, the guy's going, don't do it. And the hand's going, no, I'll take it. So you put the book in their hand, and then you say, here, and as I'm handing it over, I tell them something. I say, books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress. Then I ask them a question, because whoever's asking the question is leading the conversation. I say, you've heard of stress before, right? Have you all heard of stress before? Yes. Really, because you don't look stressed. You look very spiritual and peaceful. What's your secret? That's my next question. And as soon as I tell people that they don't look stressed, they look spiritual, they start thinking about themselves in a very different way. And now there's a mantra I'm going to teach you, which is very powerful. You can use this in all your interactions. And on book distribution, this is the one of the most powerful mantras that you can use. What's your secret? Turn to the person next to you and ask him, what's your secret? What's your secret? What's your secret? When you ask somebody what their secret is, what happens is you change the relationship. You're not condescending. You're not the one that's trying to force them to, you're becoming their disciple. And you say, you tell me, what makes you so special? That's what people want to, how the level they want to interact on. So I say, what's your secret? Why you look so spiritual? Some people, if they're in the mode of, there's the mode of ignorance, passion, goodness. Mode of ignorance, people in America, they say, I smoke marijuana. And they say, oh, I could tell. And then the people in the mode of passion, they say, I stay fit, I go to the gym, all this kind of stuff. And the people in mode of goodness say, I do yoga. So you'll get varieties of responses according to the mode of nature that they're in. And many other kinds of, those are just samples. And if somebody says, I don't have a secret, they say, you must just be a natural, right? Then they'll go, yeah, I'm a natural. Then you go, I knew it. So whatever it is, you find their secret and they say, okay, perfect. I see your whole body language is, I knew you were qualified for this. So now I take the book back out of their hand and I say, okay, here, I'll show you really quick. How fast am I showing them? Really quick. Say really quick. Because their mind is going, how fast, how long am I going to be here? Is this guy going to hold me all day? Am I going to get converted and have to join a monastery? What's going to happen here? I'm just going to show you really quick. I start going through the book and I show them, do you have universities? Do you have Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, anything like that? Universities? In the front of the book, I start showing, so I mention, in America we have on the back of the book, Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles. Different people who've read the book. You can just mention different people who've read the Bhagavad Gita, and then I say, out of all the Bhagavad Gitas in the world, this has become the most popular academically. And you can point to the universities there in the front of the book. Bombay University uses this and such others. Then I turn to the pictures and I show them first the changing bodies. And I say, look it, we all start here. We end up here, we're just passing through. Where are you in all this? What is your name? Prem? Prem Ras Das. Prem Ras Prabhu, where are you in all this? In the middle. I think you're more over here. You look pretty young. But I'm over here. I was here 5 minutes ago. Now I'm over here. It goes by pretty quick, right, Bhima? We used to be 17. Now we're 60. So just pass it through. We show them this. Then I say, you know the verse that relates to Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmane Gavihastani? I say, look, a self-realized person treats everyone with respect because he or she sees God's in everyone's heart. Then I ask him, you've heard of karma before, right? You all heard of karma? What does it mean to you? Prem Ras, what does it mean to you? Whoa, I like the way you put things. Okay, now you ask me, and whatever answer I give you about karma, you go like this. Whoa, I really like the way you put things. Okay, ask me. What does karma mean to you? No, ask me. What does it mean to you? Whatever goes around comes around. No, you didn't get it. Okay, watch. This is how you do it. You got to wind up. You got to wind up and you go like this. Whoa, I really like the way you put things. So ask me again. You ask me. What does it mean to you? You've heard of karma before, right? Ask me. Yes? Oh, stuff goes up and down and all around and it's, like really wild. No, you got to wind up. Everyone, come on, sit up. Sit up. Book distribution is, you have to have a little drama in it. Okay, now you ask me, and you really got to lean into it. You go, whoa, I really like the way you put things. Ask me again the two questions. What do you think about karma? You've heard of karma before, right? You've heard about karma. Yes? What does it mean to you? Well, what goes around comes around. Whoa! I really like the way you put things. And if there were more people like you in the world, it would be a better place to live. These are very powerful mantras that have been passed down for many generations. You use these mantras, you'll see it's very powerful. You need at this point a little energy in your presentation. So when you're showing people, you respect them, you appreciate what they say. If they add something while you're trying to tell them about that, you go, whoa, I really like the way you put things. If there were more people like you in the world, this would be a better place to live. I met a group of Christian girls, and I was showing them the Bhagavad Gita. And we were just at a seminar like this with about 20 devotees who were on the street. They were all standing next to me. And we were showing these girls, and I said, so you've heard of karma before, right? And she said, yeah. I said, what does it mean to you? She said, it doesn't mean anything. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in karma. I said, yeah, but what do you think the definition is? And she goes, oh, I don't know, some idea about you do good, good comes back to you, do bad, bad comes. And every one of the devotees goes, whoa, we really like the way you put things. If there were more people like you in the world. And she was so overwhelmed, she bought the book. So use that mantra, and then I ask them, I'd say, so what do you do professionally? Do you have the picture of the yogi? It's in here? There it is. You know this picture? Okay. So what did you say you do? What do you do professionally? What kind of engineer are you?
Civil engineer.
So, look at, this guy used to be a civil engineer. What do you do professionally? Anybody else have a different profession? Mataji, what do you do? This guy used to be a housewife. Whatever they are, I show them the yogi and they go, this guy used to be a dancer. And they go, half the people start laughing right then. And the other half of the people, they're serious and they go, really? And I go, no, not really, I'm just kidding. And then they start laughing. But when people laugh in your presentation, they owe you. They got to give a donation. That's one of the rules. So as soon as they laugh, that's when I hand the book back. They laugh and I hand the book back. As soon as they're laughing, I say, we don't sell it like in a bookstore. We just take a donation. We don't need the money. Everyone follow behind me. We don't sell them like in a bookstore.
We don't sell them like in a bookstore.
We just take a donation.
Just take a donation.
Now use the hand stuff I'm doing too. We don't need the money.
We don't need the money.
The only reason we ask, it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have painstakingly passed this down and allows you to enter into it deeply. And then they say, how much should I give?
How much?
Yeah, say what happens. They say, you give whatever you like. And as soon as they start going for the donation, they say, we try to keep it under $100. But in your case, we might make an exception. Or we say, there's no minimum. Especially if people hesitate, they go, well, there's no minimum. But more importantly, there's no maximum. And then it also gives them a moment of levity. And then they give a donation for the book, and then I say, do you believe in the power of prayer? And they say? Yes. So I say, great, I'm going to teach you this prayer. It's in Sanskrit. It's meant to wake up love for God in the heart. So you just repeat after me. Are you ready? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Excelente. And then we give them some prasadam. So you always have prasadam. There's no reason on earth to not carry prasadam with you. So I always have something like this. Prem Ras, for you, for so much nice cooperation. Here. Let the record show that he just received a prasadam organic lollipop. And if people don't like organic lollipops, there's something wrong with them. So, not the lollipops, with them. So, then after that, we get their name, and we write it down, put it into the drip system, and thank them for taking their valuable time. And that's one repetition, going through selling a book, for instance, the Bhagavad Gita to American on the street. There's different ways for different cultures and things like that, but I just thought I'd give you an overview of that. So we did the best we could to go through your expectations today, to cover some of the points. You were an unusually patient audience, even though it was a prolonged presentation. We're all just sitting here. We didn't get to go out together or anything like that. But you listened. Nobody fell asleep. Everyone was fully engaged. Ryan wrote everything down. In fact, is he still here? And he's writing like anything. So later on, we'll get all these points fed back to us electronically. We'll arrange to have a place where we can drop them off, like on a Google Doc or something, right, Ryan? Something like that? And you can send out a tiny URL or something so we can all pick it up. Someone can arrange for that. Famshuli, something? Okay. And then we'll take out the parts that we really like. In an ideal situation, we would have a monthly Sankirtan festival like this. We'd get everybody together. We'd have a little morning program, and then we'd have already a plan where everyone's going out in the city together. And we'd take, from this temple, we'd take like 300, 400 devotees, we'd go out. Minimum. And we just go out like a wave, a tidal wave, going out into the city, into the different places. And we'd split up the groups, one leader with every group, and then everyone would get a chance from the whole congregation to watch. They could have a little Harinam, distribute some prasadam, and do a few books in different places around the city. And then we'd come back and we'd meet somewhere together. We'd have prasadam, and then we'd have a session where we'd pass around the microphone and people would give a talk about what they experienced. Just 1 minute, 2 minutes, something like that, what happened. Then we'd have some bhajans, and we'd dance like crazy, and then we'd call it a day and go home feeling completely satisfied from having executed the Yuga Dharma, especially in a way that's pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo!